Good morning. Me again. And this morning we're going to continue with water pollution. And I'm going to show you two water samples. Let's just watch here and I'll switch the camera and you'll look at the two samples. These samples of water are in Coke bottles. Excuse me, I put them against the white background. You can see the color. These bottles have been standing for quite a while, so you can see there's sediment at the bottom. That means that the particles or the little pieces inside the water have settled to the bottom. That's water from the Vaal River that I collected a week ago. And here is the water we collected on Monday in the Yixkay River. Again, you can see the sediment particles there. Unfortunately, if I don't have a clear beaker here, you'd see it better, but when I shake it up and put it up, you'll get a better picture. So let's just shake up the water and you'll see what it looks like once the water's mixed. Right. So to collect these water samples, we had to go down to the river, put the bottle into the water and collect it that way, let it sort of drip into the bottle quite slowly. You know what it's like to try and get water into a bottle, not that easy. Another way to do it would be to use a bucket and scoop some water out and then pour it or decant it into the bottle. The first thing we would do if we were looking for pollution in water, a natural river, would be to use a thermometer. And the thermometer would be put in below the surface of the water, perhaps 10 centimeters or so, and you'd leave it in for about, say, 2 minutes, I would say at least, and you'd measure the temperature of the water. Water temperatures that are higher, and generally in urban areas, the rivers have had a lot of warm water pumped into them, is problematic. And it's problematic because the aquatic life or the animals that live in the water find it difficult to live when the water temperatures are raised or elevated. So that's one of the first signs that a river has been polluted. And when we look at the Yixkay, if we go further up into Bears Park and where the river's been canalized, you will notice that the water temperatures have been raised there, and sometimes it's quite warm. You can even use the finger test. I don't recommend it. When we collected the water samples, we should have really been wearing plastic gloves and not getting our hands in that water. And in fact, when Reese did come out the water with these samples, we did get him to sanitize because of the condition of the water. Once you've got those samples, like you've seen here, another thing you can look at is what they call turbidity. Turbidity is how clear is the water. And you can see the Vaal water was kind of a greeny color. The water from the Yixkay was sort of like a whitey color with pieces of bits floating around in it. So that's your turbidity. And in fact, turbidity gives you an immediate visual with your eyes, of what the water quality looks like. We're now going to go into much more detail and look at how to measure the quality of water. We've got a water quality test kit here. You'll see it's all back to front when I show it on camera, but it's a Somerset test kit, and when you open up the kit, you'll see there's a lot of little different pieces in it. So measuring water pollution, there you go, there's your gloves. You'll find little vials that you can collect the water in, little plugs to close the test tubes and to shake them up, and then these little pipettes to suck up the water and to decant it. These test kits just give you an idea how many things you need to test when you're testing water. And I'm going to, in the next couple of videos, show you how to use the test kit. You don't need to know this, but it's for interest. And why should we be so interested in water pollution? Well, let me tell you, we drink the stuff. We need the stuff to survive. Plants need the stuff to survive. Water is one of the most important resources we have on this planet. We've spoken about two rivers so far. We've spoken about the Vaal River, and we've spoken about the river that we went down to the other day, which is the Jukskei River. The other river we need to talk about in Johannesburg is the Braamfontein-Spruit. And here I'm going to show you some pictures on my computer of me with a group of matric students at Holy Family College doing water sampling and water studies along the Braamfontein-Spruit. The Braamfontein-Spruit has its source near Bernardo Park High School up near Berea, and it flows down past Wits, and in fact there's a canal there. It runs along towards towards where John Orr Technical School is. It runs past the German school, if you know where that is, and there it is canalized. It means it's got cement banks, and it runs down to Emmarentia Dam, and from Emmarentia Dam it sort of moves its way down to the Delta Park area, and that's where we're taking samples. Eventually it goes through Sandton, and it's the longest river in Johannesburg. Here you can see the children have got beakers with them. You can see what the river looks like. It looks quite pretty. The banks are relatively clean in this on this day. There you can see the children have got sticks with them. Those sticks are not to protect themselves, but we would later put them as markers in the river when we were looking at the velocity or the speed of the river. So we'd measure 100 meters, mark the 2 points, and then drop something in the river and time how long it takes to flow. And that would give us a sense of the velocity or the speed of the river. You can see the river there, and it's slightly milky, giving you a clue again. Remember what I said, turbidity, giving you a clue that this is a polluted river. That's me. I'm basically folding a filter there and filter paper, and we're going to, I'm showing them how you put the filter paper into a funnel, and we were going to look at what solid particles are in the water. So they collected some water. There I'm showing them how what the water looks like, and then we pour it through the water and try and collect the sediment in it. And there again, I'm showing them turbidity. I've shown you this morning again. That's the how cloudy or murky the water is. That we call that turbidity. By the way, once you filter the water, you can then see what particles are inside. Here they are standing, looking at the river. Others are measuring it. Unfortunately, I didn't film it. The river is also dammed at places, so they've built little walls which create small dams. So it slows the water down, and you can see why I think it was quite nice to show you this picture is where the water, and I'm pointing with the arrow there, where the water flows over the dam. You can see there's quite a lot of foam. Again, remember what I told you, that indicates that there's quite a lot of soap and other chemicals in the water. Here you can see another test, and we're going to do this test ourselves, but here we're looking at pH, and that's the indicator sheet, and you can see the young woman is holding a piece of litmus paper, and pH is how acidic or alkaline is the water. And that's what the river looks like further on. Another way of getting a sense of what the water quality is to get the sediment or the sand that's at the bottom of the water. You can see there's quite a bit of sand, particularly the sand where the water is running over, and dig it up and to examine that sand. And what you would normally find is a lot of solid pollutants like a litter, and then maybe oil and other things that have sunk to the bottom of the water, a sediment. Here you can see the children walking along the river. Here you can see the banks of the river have been strengthened, and and they've built some rock walls. That's rocks that are contained in fencing, and that stops the riverbanks being undercut or washed away during storms. Why is it important to have pure rivers? Well, this is at the bottom, further downstream at the river, and you can see an important religious ceremony taking place. Here, some Zionists are busy baptizing people in the water of the Braamfontein Spruit. You can see the lady coming out, and there's a towel behind her. She's just been baptized or dipped in the water. Oh dear, let me just go back. There we go. There you can see two Zionist priests busy praying before they baptize someone, and you can see the water running over a dammed part of the wall. Let's just go to the next picture, hopping about like mad. Here you can see the students have got the measuring tape, and we're measuring the velocity of the river. So the tape is on the one side, there's the river, and we've dropped something in, and they're timing how long it takes for that ball, or we normally drop an orange in to float down the river. You'll notice that the river is much slower here, much slower moving. So I wanted to show them the velocity or the speed of the river further upstream where it was faster, and the velocity of the river here where the river is slower. Well, that's the end of that. That was the Braamfontein Spruit.